Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show. So, after hunting some bounty and winding up saddled with Baby Yoda in a floating crib, Mandy has to get back to Werner Herzog and pick up his money. Surely nothing's going to get in his way, right? Right? The Mandalorian, Chapter 2, The Child, starts out with Mandy and Bubba Yoda in the wee canyon somewhere, and they get attacked by like a bunch of bad dudes, and he ends up putting them all down with a fair amount of ease, if a wee bit sloppy like. He ends up with a sore arm and some bent armour, so he's like fixing it up in himself, and Bubba Yods is like getting out his crib and trying to do something, and he's like, "Stop it, baby," puts him back. Next morning, he gets back to his ship and he finds that like a Jawa sandcrawler's sitting beside it, and they're all like ransacking his stuff and taking the ship apart. And he shoots a few of them and chases after them, and it turns into a great big massive set piece as he tries to fight to get on the top of the sandcrawler, but then he gets zapped and he falls back off. And back at his ship, it's a total wreck. It won't even take off now, so he ends up limping back to like Nick Nolte guy, who says like he'll help him out and take him to the Jawas to trade, which he does. And at first it's no good, because first they want his armour, and he's like no, and then they want the Bubba, and he's like nah, and then they say they'll like give it back in exchange for the egg. And it turns out like the egg's some kind of rhino egg in a cave, and he ends up fighting it badly, and he almost dies. But then Bubba Yods like picks up the rhino using the Force, and it turns out that it can do that, and he ends up doing a wee neat stab on it, and it dies instantly somehow. And he gets back to the Jawas, and they all like pig out like morons at the egg, but at least he gets his stuff back, and the old dude helps him fix like the ship up. And then he won't take any payment because Mandy's his guest. So once that's all done, like they say goodbye, and he takes off, and he's off with his adventure. So what did I think? Well, I'm actually quite surprised by this episode. I mean, it wasn't the direction I was expecting the show to go in, and a wee bit more on that later on. But I mean, this episode, this was kind of a bit of an actiony one, and like that spectacular attack on the sandcrawler sequence at the start, that was amazing. It was really, really good. I mean, bits of that kind of reminded me of like Return of the Jedi. I mean, there's also bits that totally reminded me of the tank sequence from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I mean, particularly all like this bit when they were going into the wall. And I also loved like, wee baby Yoda trying to use the Force and like heal him or something. And he's just like back in your crib. And I like that it all looked fantastic. And the Jawas and other bits and bobs is nice little bits of fan service. But yeah, and the big fight with the thingy at the end, I mean, that was okay. It was fun. But I have a few cribs about this week. I mean, to start off, it's only a 30-minute show. I mean, I didn't realise this. I thought it was a much longer show. I mean, I thought last week's 38-minute show was like just how long it was going to be. I didn't realise that was an extra length episode. I mean, I know it's Disney Plus's channel. They don't have to make it an hour. They don't have to make it 45 minutes or whatever it used to be in the olden days of TV networks and stuff. But considering this is like $15 million an episode TV show, that means that the show's burning through about $500,000 every minute. And think about that. Think of what you're actually seeing on screen. Is it actually worth $500,000 a minute? I mean, compared to like even a big Hollywood film or something like that, that seems like overspend on this. I mean, I'm not complaining that much because like there's really good CGI beasties. I mean, the big thing at the end, that was great. And like the whole thing with the Jawa sandcrawler, that looked totally practical. I mean, and it was all in motion. And honestly, you could have told me that was all done completely practically with a full-size Jawa sandcrawler, like tearing down through the desert really fast, and I would have believed you because it looks that good. But then a lot of the rest of the show is just people walking around or sitting about or wistfully looking about the place. And yeah, the other thing is this is an 8-episode season, and this episode was totally disposable. I mean, it was totally like peddling water. I mean, absolutely. And he sees Baby Yoda use the Force, and other than that, did anything actually important to the ongoing plot happen in this like episode? Honestly, no, it was just nothing but filler. I mean, it's time wasted. It's spending an episode just to like bump up the amount of episodes. And obviously a lot of like craftsmanship has gone into it. But I mean, story-wise, what was this about? I mean, all we've actually learned is that Mandy the Lion, until they actually give him a name, I'm still just going to keep calling him that. He isn't actually a good bounty hunter. He's not a very good hero. I mean, I'm not sure he's a hero at all. He's an anti-hero. But he seems to get by purely because he's got this Ace Beskar armor that's totally like impervious to like blasters and stuff. And he's got a few gadgets like his little flamethrower and his little like, rope thing. And he just gets by with luck. And he doesn't seem to lock his car, and he gets jumped really easily, and he goes in a cave with a crap wee head torch, and he doesn't even see the huge rhino until he's right beside it, and you get like the total like Jurassic Park shot. And then his gun ends up jams. And then he never used the zappy thing that the gun could do. I mean, I don't know why he didn't use that, because he used it on the giant, even bigger monster in episode 1. And I know he's trying to be a nice guy, sort of, especially for his pal who's helping him out. But he clearly could have like wiped out all the Jawas right here with his flamethrower. And sniping them from a distance seems to have been a pretty crap idea as well, because he took out like what, three? I mean, the gun was that slow to reload that he got three of them out of like 20, and then they drove away by the time he'd ran down the hill. I mean, using the rule of show and tell, which is an important thing in like writing and storytelling, it's telling us that basically he's an awesome bounty hunter, really cool and really expensive, but the show's actually showing us that he's kind of average at best. And I'm still getting this massive video game vibe for it. I mean, it's fetch quests and side missions and busy work and keeping him from getting on with a main story quest. I mean, that doesn't feel like Star Wars. That feels like Red Dead Redemption or something. And I'm not annoyed with it, but this kind of weird anime cartoon video game feeling isn't going away. And I never realized last week that this was actually directed by the same guy responsible for like the Clone War cartoons. And that kind of makes sense. But it feels like the Clone War cartoons, which were aimed at much younger children. And this story doesn't really feel like something that should be aimed at them with this kind of protagonist and this kind of setting. And I felt it would be a bit more real and gritty. But, at the end of the day, it's okay. It's still just all right. It's mediocre. Not great, not terrible. So why not, before next time, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grumpy Opinions. And, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. It always helps me out. And leave some comments and let me know what you think about it. Until next time, I've been Ian. And those have been my Grumpy Opinions.